This is Seasons of Discontent with your hosts Rick Snyder and Matt Combs on the Hogstye Network.
Welcome to Seasons of Discontent, Season 5, Episode 12, brought to you by Rick Snyder's Washington across the YouTube and social media channels. I'm Rick Snyder.
And I'm Matt.
And we're back discussing all things Washington sports and life as part of the mighty Hogstye Network on audio and here on YouTube for video. So make sure you follow Rick Snyder's Washington for all your daily needs on Twitter. I put up a lot of pictures and videos and stuff there too.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in game week here now. It's Washington football team will be playing the Los Angeles. I try to manage not to say Clippers all the time. At FedEx Field on Sunday. And then they play the Giants 4 days later. So we're going to know real quick how things are going to go around here.
Yep.
Last year, we're also a 7-9 team that finished 5-2 like Washington. So, and they've got a good quarterback. It's a good challenge in all of this. The biggest thing I was wondering about this season, what's more important, the defensive line or Ryan Fitzpatrick to how this team finishes? Which one do you think is bigger?
I'm going to go with Fitz. We saw what this defensive line is. I mean, and if you look at it, the defensive line, their reserves can be starters on other teams. You're looking at Matt Ioannidis, you're looking at guys like that come in on a rotational basis. Even Tim Settle, like those guys on a rotational basis, they could probably, well, Ioannidis definitely could, Settle probably could too, be a starter somewhere else. With Fitz, I think it's more of a matter of there's not really much behind him. We saw there's a lot of potential with Heineke, and we saw what he could do in the playoffs. But, he didn't look very accurate in preseason. He still needs to put a little touch on his passes. He's out there throwing zingers every pass, trying to shoot the ball through the guy's chest. I think this team goes as far as Fitzpatrick can take them. We saw what this defense was last year. The offense was horrid. If the offense can be a little bit better, I think you have a way better team.
Well, I kind of agree with you there. So that ruins that. Moving on.
Sorry about that. We don't discuss this before the show.
People will always talk about the defensive line being the key to this team, but it's really not. I mean, because you got the back seven, which isn't a bad back seven. You do have some rotational players. This D line isn't going to stop everybody in its tracks. You need the other seven behind him. Mm-hmm. But what's Fitz got behind him? He's got a running game that might be okay. He's got a bunch of different receivers that, it's decent working group on there. His offensive line with 3 new starters, that's interesting to watch. They didn't score a touchdown in 6 possessions. They didn't really do much in 6 possessions. So I haven't seen anything. I've watched the practices, and I don't know. He's kind of hot and cold. That's just how Fitz is. He can hit some. Just when you give up, he'll hit a really nice pass, and then he'll throw one away, and you're just like, ooh. So I think he is the key to how far they go. The defensive line is a given, but Fitz, we don't know. So that's really, I agree with you there.
Yeah, and if you look at
all right, here's
just compare last year to this year as far as like the weapons that Fitz had compared to what Alex had and Kyle Allen and Taylor Heineke, and I think there was a 4th quarterback in there. So Haskins, I forgot about him. The weapons are better on the offense. The weapons are upgraded. I think this offensive line is better than it was last year. The running game is going to be better than it was last year. I feel like Antonio Gibson is really coming in with a lot of hype from the national media. Plus, he's coming in with a chip on his shoulder. I don't know what the chip is, but he seems like he's definitely more intense this year. You add a guy like Curtis Samuel, you bring in, a security blanket for Fitz and Humphreys. I mean, you've got some playmakers on the outside of this team, on the outside of this offense. So I don't know, man. We expect Logan to take that next step. I feel like all the pressure this year is on the offense. The defense is going to be really good. We know that. This defense will probably end up top 5. But yeah, I mean, the defensive line is solid. The defensive line is going to put pressure on the quarterback, which is going to make the secondary, better than probably advertised.
And the offensive line is one thing I had a hard time judging in practice because line's going 3/4 speed against them. It's not a live hit on the quarterback. So we don't really know yet. I think Cosme on the right tackle will be good. He'll get beaten occasionally, but there's a kid's going to be a decent right tackle for him, maybe a John Jansen, something like that. And on the left side, I think Leno is better than what they had. And I think Flowers, both guards are pretty good pullers for runs. So I do like that. So I do think there's some positives on all there.
And I also think Fitz has better instincts than Alex did last year. And of course, he definitely has better instincts than Haskins and guys like that also played. I think Fitz has that he's got that timer in his head where he knows he has to get rid of the ball. And I also think the thing with Fitzpatrick is that he's not afraid to throw the ball away when the play is not developing. He has that veteran instinct, but he still has the physical capabilities that Alex Smith did not.
And there's a difference between Fitz and Heineke. Is Heineke's going to still try and make that play work when it's not going to happen.
Heineke's going to pull the ball down and run. We saw what he did in the playoff game against Tampa. We saw it in the preseason. Heineke is going to go through his progressions. Maybe he gets to a second or third read, and once he doesn't see anything, he's going to pull the ball down and run. Fitz is not going to do that. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a bad thing. I mean, we saw what Heineke did in the playoff game. He ended up hurting his shoulder on that touchdown run, right. But he knew it was we got to lay everything out on the table for this game. And, Heineke's season this year was not guaranteed until he played that game and until he gutted it out like that. So I think the situation and the scenarios are a little different this year. I don't know. I still think next year you've got to make a splash at quarterback. You got to because Fitz is a 1-year stopgap. We know that. They're not going to finish bad enough to draft one of the top quarterbacks. Maybe they can catch a guy like a Matt Ryan on free agency or on a trade or something like that, and bring him in for a couple of years. But, I think that's the glaring need on this team is quarterback, and it's not something that we can address right now.
Yeah, Max Jones would have looked good. Weren't that many picks away. Could have made a move.
Yeah. But then again, we're saying that now. It's September. What are we going to be saying about Mac? And also, look, let's be honest with you. Mac Jones is in a system that's tailor-made for Mac Jones. That situation up in New England, I mean, it's just a quarterback-driven team. And he's got 2 very good security blankets in his tight ends. He's got a good run game, and he's got decent wide receivers. He doesn't have that big of playmakers. Kadil Harry's hurt again. That was supposed to be their big guy, but I don't know. I just think that I don't think that Mac Jones necessarily would be stepping into a similar situation in Washington that he is in New England.
All right, moving on. Coach says Hopkins is fine. The timing, they'll work it out. Things are good. We're signed a practice squad kicker. Wait a minute. Why are you signing a practice squad kicker? He's done that during his time here. Some other coaches have, but that's always the guy on deck. Mm-hmm. Suddenly got competition in camp. Eddie Pinheiro was with the Bears 2 years ago. Was he 23 of 28, hit a 53-yarder. Then he had a groin problem last year and didn't play. Mm-hmm. Stats there, it's not a bad pickup, especially for a practice squad. Mm-hmm. It just tells me for a coach saying, no problem, don't worry about it. Suddenly somebody's worried about it.
Do you think it goes beyond performance-based with Hopkins? I know he said he's having issues with his brother and his brother's health. Do you think maybe this is a situation where Hopkins is going to need to step away from the team for a couple of weeks and they need somebody that can fill in? And in the meantime, he sits on the practice squad, but he also kind of, gets into rhythm with Cheeseman and Tress Way?
I mean, there's something there. I don't know that the off-field issue is to that kind of point. It may be. I don't know that.
All right. We didn't know anything about this until the last preseason game anyway.
Yeah. Well, I don't talk about my private life here either. So
true.
I don't blame Hopkins for that. But usually you sign a guy like this because you figure you're going to use him. So It's not about kickoffs, not being one of those deals where the kicker is good, but he can't kick off. So that's an interesting part that they're doing there. Another thing that happened, so they let Peyton Barber go, so they don't have that classic short yard runner now. And they signed Jonathan Williams to the practice squad, who is a short run guy. But you got to be active on game day to be a matter. And if you're 3rd and 1, just because he's on practice squad isn't going to help you there. So I don't know. I think they stay with Gibson on a short yardage run. Jared Patterson, I don't think so.
I mean, he's small enough he could squeak through there.
Gosh, you can do it here.
The thing is, look, a lot of the talk this offseason has been Patterson and Gibson. Nobody's even bringing up J.D. McKissick. We saw what J.D. McKissick can do in this offense beyond just the catch and run. I mean, he does have some ball handling ability coming out of the backfield. So I don't know. I think it was funny. Everybody's sitting there saying, oh, Peyton Barber's washed up 3 yards in a cloud of dust. He's got the Clinton Portis-itis, whatever. And everybody's begging for him to be cut. Now you put him on practice squad and the Raiders come and grab him and they put him on their active 53 and everybody's acting like Peyton Barber's Emmitt Smith. I don't get it. You wanted him gone. He's gone. You figure it out. We have options. There's 3 pretty damn good running backs on this team and they'll figure it out.
It's interesting you said something about Clinton Portis, by the way, because the former, number 2 all-time rusher for Washington Redskins, having his troubles. The judge scored a warrant for unpaid child support over $100,000, and he was in trial last week for a medical fraud case with the NFLPA. They had like 12 guys plead out. He and one other went to trial, went to a hung jury, so they're going to retry him this week. So, it's just weird. It's Clinton Portis, good guy, has some troubles, I guess.
Man, he likes to spend that money.
All right. So also, Sammis Rays. I have to say Sammis Rays because whenever you say it, 4 times more people seem to listen. Man, he was the clickbait king of the world for this preseason. And it's a great story because, if some agent came to me and I was a GM and they said, hey, I got a guy that, who didn't make it in the NBA, but he could make the NFL tight end. I go, oh, yeah, where do you play in college? I didn't play college. What, did you play high school ball? No, I didn't play. You mean this guy's played no ball ever, and he's going to make my NFL team? We did. I mean, that's the real long shot of more of anything. That makes Patterson look like an even money favorite to get in the team, never having played ball. And I don't think his hands are good enough. And they go, oh, he's a good blocker. Well, I can find you plenty of good blockers. They drafted a good blocking tight end. I just find it really interesting. And of course, being from Chile, now I guess all of Chile will become Washington football team fans. I'll have to explain to them we're changing the name in 6 months. But, everybody is just following this kid. I don't think he's going to play a whole lot. Maybe play here and there. Rivera talked about being developmental of some players on your roster to move them up in the coming years. So that's what he is. But you don't see that much in the NFL. So he's definitely been a great story, and everybody's interested in him. So Sammis Reyes, hope the algorithm.
He made the 53 because you put him on practice squad. Somebody will take him.
Oh, yeah.
He was going to be taken by somebody. Look, let's be honest here. How many how many college scouts are going down to Chile to scout basketball players? Probably not a lot. You know what I mean? But there's the thing is with him, I'm not going to discount this kid. I think that this kid could be the real deal. I don't think he's just a flash in the pan. I don't think he's just being brought in to be a blocker. I don't think he's just brought in to have a country, root for our football team. I think that this kid can be legit. You look at what Logan Thomas has done. Yes, I know Logan Thomas played high school and college and Pee Wee and everything like that, but he played a quarterback position. He played quarterback at Virginia Tech. Let's not forget that. He is converted to a tight end because he's a big dude with good hands. You got to have good hands to be a basketball player. The kid can develop the skills that he needs. He's being compared to, some of the better pass catching touchdown tight ends that have ever played this game. And he's played 3 games. Give the kid some time. I think he's going to progress, and I think he's going to turn out to be pretty damn good. And Rivera and Hurney and Mayu are going to look pretty damn smart.
Well, hopefully they do. We're out of time, though. I'm Rick Snyder.
And I'm Matt.
And we'll see you again soon.
Bye.